presentation, post which we will have a keynote address by Honorable Minister, and then we'll open it up after a photo session with question answers. As I mentioned earlier, we'll take the questions through the chat function, and I'll read them out to the speakers. Do mention during the question answers which speaker you are addressing the question to. Thank you so much. With that, let me welcome Hartwig Schaefer, Vice President, South Asia World Bank, to make the opening comments. Over to you, Hartwig.
Thank you very much, Sudeep, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody who is with us, and a very, very special welcome to the Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari for making time for this important event on road safety and joining us together with the Safe Life Foundation and the World Bank, who have been organizing this. At the outset, let me congratulate the government of India and particularly the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for successfully carrying out the 2021 India Road Safety Month. This is a very important event, and I'm very happy to see this, despite all the things that are going on around us, that we are keeping the focus, and Honorable Minister, that you and India is keeping the focus on road safety. Today's event is to present a new World Bank report. It is a virtual report. We can print it out, and but we'll also get it to everybody. I just saw on the chat function that some of the participants are actually asking for the report. It is a new report, and the report is titled Traffic Crash Injuries and Disabilities, the Burden on Indian Society. And this is something that is very important because very often when we look at the road traffic crash accident numbers in India, it reminds us of the grim statistic that India is ranked highest, amongst the highest in the world. India has 1% of the world's vehicle fleet, but India accounts for 11% of all the crash-related death. 150,000 people die every year on the roads. And I think this is not just a statistic. These are our neighbors. These are our friends. These are our families. And there is a huge human toll that comes with it, because it's also something where we need to look at that it is preventable. Very often it's pedestrians, it's cyclists, it's a group of traffic participants that very often are forgotten because we are looking at motor vehicles. So it's also an economic issue, and I think this is where this report is really bringing the human and the economic issues together. And when we look at in terms of economic growth, we estimate that the long-term income impact for the nation is about 3 to 5% of GDP. That is not peanuts. This is substantive. And what is more important, that this report also looks at who is most affected. The impact, the social welfare impact, the impact on wealth, on income, is particularly hard on the poor. They are the most vulnerable to be severely affected. Very often, lifetime savings are being wiped out. The sole breadwinner of a family is being injured or killed. There is a lack of access to medical insurance. There are no social safety nets that, if you have been in a crash, to help you actually recover. And what is important is women. Very often, it is the women in the household who bear the largest burden of the economic losses, because they have to take care of the crash victims. Very often, they have to then make up with their own income to help the families survive. So this report is very innovative, and I'm very happy that that we have been able to work with Piyush Tiwari and the Safe Life Foundation to do that. And I very much want to welcome Piyush, and I want to thank you, Piyush, for being one of the partners that we are working with. Now, what the report sheds light on is, first of all, the socioeconomic impact of traffic crashes, but also it makes suggestions of what can be done in terms of help overcome those, with providing ideas for social safety nets, for making sure that there are insurance schemes, for making sure that there are compensation schemes, and so on. So this is all important to make sure that the institutional infrastructure of India is up to the level of what we see in industrialized countries. And I'm very happy that India has embraced road safety as a cross-cutting development issue. And the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act is actually focusing on some of the things that are absolutely necessary. We need data. We need very good reporting of road crash incidents, fatalities, locations, timing of the day, and so on and so on. And this crash reporting system is something that India is now in the process of setting up nationwide. Post-crash emergency protocols. The 1 hour after a crash makes all the difference whether somebody is becoming a statistic or is going to survive. And I think this is something where we have seen states in India, and Tamil Nadu is one where there is enormous progress, where the prospect of cutting the number of crash fatalities in half by 2030 is absolutely in reach. And it's absolutely in reach, not only in Tamil Nadu, but I think in all over India. The National Road Safety Board is something that the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act of 2019, and I was there with you, Minister Gadkari, in Delhi when this was presented. This National Road Safety Board is absolutely critical because it brings together all the players, everybody who has to have a stake: health, Interior Ministry, education. We need to start getting children to appreciate what road safety means for pedestrians. When you're sitting at the back of a motorbike, that you wear a helmet, things like this. And Minister, I know that road safety, you are the champion, but I think everybody needs to know road safety is not just for Minister Gadkari, it is for the entire cabinet of the government of India to embrace this. Road safety agencies, contractors need to be held accountable. Enforcement of the laws is important. Establishing of the database I mentioned, registration of vehicles, and actually making sure that the vehicles are safe. Roads need to be safe, vehicles need to be safe, drivers need to be safe. We need to make sure that if you are unfortunate and you are in an accident, you get the quickest possible care that is available. So this is something where we have made great progress, and we continue to make progress. And one thing that I'm particularly proud of, and I know, Piyush, this is something that is close to your heart, is to make it mandatory for bystanders to take care of accident victims. I heard your story, and I know this is the worst thing that can happen if you are in an accident and people are afraid to help you. So this is something that is absolutely critical, that anybody who comes to a crash site, to take care of the victims first. Before you take out your cell phone and take pictures and everything, go there, help that victim, make sure that victim gets to a trauma center as quick as possible, make sure that this is something where we can save lives. So again, Piyush, I'm very happy that we have been working together on this one. I hope we can do many, many more things in India. And now I just want to close by saying the World Bank remains committed to working with the government of India, with the states of India, with all international and national partners, with civil society, with the private sector also, to make sure that we are sharing knowledge, we are getting the investments in the right place for road safety, and that we move forward on the reforms to improve the roads and make everything safer for everybody who uses the roads: pedestrians, two-wheelers, bicyclists, cars, truck drivers, and so on, to make sure that we are helping save lives, and we are looking at innovative ways of financing this. So with that, in closing, again, Honorable Minister, huge thanks to you for your being such a champion, for your support. We look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Sudeep.
Thank you, Hart, and thank you for being such a big champion both within and outside the bank on road safety. It's my pleasure to invite Piyush Tiwari, the founder and CEO of Save Life Foundation, for his remarks on the report as well. Well, Piyush.
Thank you, Sudeep. I would like to begin by thanking Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, our Honorable Minister for Road Transport and Highways, for joining us today to release this very important study on the socio-economic impact of road crashes in India. I also want to thank him for continuing to be a significant champion for the cause of road safety. Every time I know Mr. Gadkari speaks publicly, he talks about the issue of road safety, and it's his championship that is leading to many changes on the ground, including with the policies that are now being implemented across the country. I also want to thank Dr. Hartwig Schaefer, and the World Bank team in India for giving us the opportunity to collaborate on this important subject. It's been a pleasure working with the team, and I echo what Dr. Schaefer said, that I do hope that we get more opportunities to work together. Now, it is a fact that socioeconomic inequalities interact with road crashes every day in India, and they deal a debilitating blow to families and survivors across the low and middle income world, including and especially in our country. And we see and hear of such stories every day, as Dr. Schaefer mentioned. Now, this report that we're releasing today is a first of its kind effort to quantify these interlinkages. What we're really trying to provide is some empirical evidence as to what these interlinkages look like. And moreover, we are also offering 6 specific policy recommendations for the government to consider to address these inequalities and the challenges that come up. Of these 6 recommendations, I would like to speak about 2 specific areas where we feel some urgent attention is needed. One, of course, is the aspect of post-crash care. We see that a number of states, when they talk about post-crash care for road crash victims, primarily talk about the ambulance piece. Now, while that is a very critical element of transporting the victim to hospital, we have to start looking at emergency care as a chain of survival. It starts by the ability to make a phone call for help and ends at early advanced care in a facility that can provide some sort of decisive care to the injured victim. The National Cashless Treatment Scheme that the Honorable Minister launched has been a huge success in getting that care to, or at least addressing the financial gap that existed in getting the care to the victims. And by way of this forum, I would like to appeal to all the states to implement this scheme as fast as possible, so that we can provide this care to the victims. One of the things that we discovered during the reporting process of this study was that a large number of people are not aware of the scheme, especially truck drivers who are on the road and who are exposed to these incidents on a regular basis. The second thing I wanted to speak about is the aspect of rehabilitation. Now, we have seen that a large number of people are left injured in road crashes. And we are seeing that the economic burden on families keeps increasing because of the rehabilitation costs, because of sometimes rehabilitation facilities not even existing in their cities and them having to move to cities and to locations where there might be rehabilitation available. So our suggestion and request is to make rehabilitation a part of the insurance system in the country, and of course to encourage states to open rehabilitation facilities so that the survivors, the injured persons, can be mainstreamed and can recover and join the mainstream life as fast as possible. Finally, we were talking about how road safety needs to be a mass campaign, and it has been really heartening to see that very recently the Honorable Prime Minister of India has also asked for road safety to become a mass campaign. And we at Save Life Foundation really hope that the different actors, the different agencies that are involved in this process, both from a government standpoint, the non-profit sector, but also civil society and academia, can come together and start working on this issue on a mission mode. And like the Honorable Minister has mentioned recently, there is no doubt in our mind that India will achieve its target of 50% reduction much before 2030. And once again, I thank the Honorable Minister Dr. Hartmut Schafer, the World Bank team, and all of you here today for joining us and giving us the opportunity to be a part of this important forum. Thank you. Sudeep, over to you.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you. Let me now invite Arnab Bandyopadhyay, a lead transport specialist and program leader infrastructure for the World Bank, and Karuna Raina, Director for Public Policy and Research in Save Life Foundation, to take us through a presentation on the report.
Sudeep, thanks so much. And as the presentation comes in, I would like to extend a very warm greetings and good evening, sir, to the Honorable Minister Gadkari. Good evening, Piyush, and good morning, Hart, and my colleagues from the World Bank, as well as friends from media. We have a short presentation to take you through. While the presentation is coming up on the screen, let me quickly mention about the driver of this particular study. So last year, when we were actually discussing with the Ministry of Road Transport on the distributional impact of the poverty and social impact of road safety, particularly on the poor and vulnerable section of the society, we did realize that there was not much study or data available. There was, of course, a study which the Asian Development Bank had carried out for the entire Asia-Pacific region about 10 years ago. And there was a recent study for the city of Bangalore, but it looked relatively narrowly, in certain segment of the society. So what we thought it was immediate, there was an immediate necessity to actually undertake more comprehensive and survey-based, study to look at, first of all, the socioeconomic impact, the overall socioeconomic impact in terms of bringing in the various filters like low-income household versus high-income households, or rural area versus urban area, or more advanced states versus relatively less advanced states. And also the vulnerable sections of the society, the women, the children, the adolescents, as well as the truck drivers who actually live daily with this as a part of their kind of professional risk, with safety risk. So we instituted a study essentially again to take a look at the 360-degree view of this. So what is the impact of road safety on the victims and their families from a post-crash care point of view, from their access to insurance and legal recourses, compensation, and also the larger social safety net. What I would request is my colleague Karuna to take us through the next slide, please. Whosoever is driving it, yeah, and the next one, please. Karuna, over to you. Please take us through the survey methodology and the approach as well as the findings of the survey, and then I will come at the end again to talk about the recommendations.
Sure. Yes.
Over to you, Karuna.
Rohit, could you move to the next slide, please? Thank you, Arnab. Rohit, could you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So yeah, Arnab mentioned about the objectives of the study, and to meet these objectives, we conducted a subnational survey-based assessment study, and we employed various filters to sort of look at what should be our survey and state and sample selection criteria. And the first stage was to figure out the first unit of state. So we selected 4 states based on 3 different criteria. One was the geographical location. So we selected 1 state from each zone. And the second criteria was a number of crashes. So between these 4 states, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar, they constitute roughly 35% of total road crash deaths in India. And then we also looked at, we wanted to pick some high capacity states and low capacity states. So we looked at Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu as high capacity states and Uttar Pradesh and Bihar as low capacity states. And the second sort of stage was to look at the second unit of districts. In all these 4 states, we looked at 4 districts again in terms of to ensure that they're represent the whole state, but also has districts which have a high number of road crash fatalities. And then the third stage was to look at the respondent criteria. And since we wanted to understand the disproportionate impact of road crash outcomes on people, we looked at two different samples. So we looked at the test sample of bottom 40 percentage of population, which we have in the report called income household. We looked at a control sample, 10% of the population, which we've called in the report the high income households. And the whole idea behind this was we wanted to understand what is the difference in the way the impact of road crash in these two different constituencies. And finally, the other respondent category for us was vulnerable road users. So we also spoke to adolescents and truck drivers to understand their awareness, but to also see how road crash outcomes impact them. Next slide, please. So the sample size for this particular study, what we did was we statistically tried to, at a 95% confidence level, the size which we needed for each state to be able to sort of give, to have an adequate sample size was 384. So for each state, we achieved slightly higher. We had a total of 647 test samples, and then we have 432 from controls, which is high income household, and we covered 450 truck drivers in these 4 states. In total, the survey size was 2,499. We also conducted some qualitative interviews, focus group discussions with women in Lucknow and in Maharashtra, and then we also looked at in-depth interviews with children because we wanted to capture how the crash are impacting them. Survey study was conducted by it's a research agency, and the pilot study was conducted during the lockdown, so it was telephonic, but field was conducted between June, July 20, which was the gradual unlock was happening. But since it was strict methodology, was telephonic surveys and on-ground surveys. Next slide, please. So now to the financial impact on household. I'm not sure if it's the right slide. Just to continue, the financial impact, what we found was that the people, the low-income households have reported a decline in their household income compared to the high-income household. For example, one of the FG respondents told us was that when his elder brother died, he had to, for example, daughter drop out of school because really afford that everyone, all children were in school. What we also found quantitative survey points was that, for example, the financial loss amongst low-income households was roughly about 7.6 months of household income, whereas in high-income households, it was less than 1 their household income. Another point which we captured through the report was that the medical costs constituted a significant proportion of the total cost of low-income households, which was roughly 50% of their total cost. Whereas in terms of loss of income or loss of productivity, that was the second highest sort of cost which they had to bear. The next slide, please. The second point was on the access to insurance and compensation. Here we found that both the access as well as awareness on compensation was 70% of low-income households were unaware of the process, and therefore what it led to didn't really access system. Only 40% of low-income households received compensation, and even though the numbers are not really high for high-income households, in relative was slightly higher. Next slide, please. the social and
Karuna, your voice is breaking quite a lot.
sort of
It
we've
was.
looked at, and here that's
Karuna, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so your voice is cracking, and it's there's a lot of gap. Is there a faster connection, or it's not coming through clearly what you're saying? We've switched off our videos, so hopefully the bandwidth will increase. Maybe you want to try again, but the voice is getting interrupted. Could you try speaking and see? No?
Yes, is it better now, Sudhi?
Yes, it's better now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So the next point was on the social impact of households. So 64% of low-income households reported a deterioration in standards of living compared to 29% in high-income households. And similarly, the low-income households reported twice more deaths in comparison to the low-income households. The risk of victim having undergone long-term disability after crash was also 3 times higher for low-income households in rural areas. And similarly, low-income household victims had to took twice the time to return to work or to find a new job compared to high-income households. Rohit, could you move to the next slide? The other impact which we have sort of captured in the report is on the mental health. The respondents were asked to self-evaluate themselves on the mental health, and this also includes undiagnosed cases as well. And what we found was that a lot of respondents spoke about that they were left with a feeling of emptiness, or they were sad, and the cases of undiagnosed depression amongst the victims was much higher in low-income households in comparison to high-income households. Rohit, can you move to the next slide, please?
Karuna, are you mute? Karuna?
Sudeep, I think, can you hear me? In the interest of time, let me take over. I think she is having a difficult. So, let me quickly move on. So, essentially, the gendered impact on households, as you'd realize that women often bear the brunt because it's a kind of a double whammy for them. They will have to be the caregiver when they have, a sick husband or who is a crash survivor at home, and at the same time, they have the burden of also running the family. And as was very evident that many times the woman had to work much for a longer period to make up the family expenses, whatever is required, and that's what has already led to, in several cases has led to time poverty. They also face inequality of opportunity in returning to livelihood, as you know, and income generating tasks because of many times the societal pressure. And in many times, even accessing the compensation or the insurance, they actually face a lot of challenge. So next slide, please, Rohit, if you can hear me. We also, covered the truck drivers and who live with road safety as a matter of their kind of daily professional hazard. And it was actually very surprising that 2/3 of the respondent truck drivers, they didn't actually file an FIR post crash, or they were perhaps not allowed in some cases. What some of these instances tell us, two-thirds of the truck drivers are not even aware of this third-party liability insurance, which is very concerning. And even the drivers, if you see, 40% of them only had some kind of an insurance coverage at the time of crash. So there's low rates of insurance coverage and the poor awareness is really concerning for a particularly vulnerable class who live daily with the challenge of actually road safety as a part of their professional life. Next one, Rohit. Okay, so this is the last slide, and Piyush already mentioned about the 6 thematic areas of recommendations. There are actually 37 recommendations, and in the interest of time, I will not go into each of this, but I will just touch upon 1 or 2. So the first is enhancing the awareness. As the study clearly showed, that a very low level of awareness in the rural areas among the low-income household and truck drivers, either on the insurance schemes or as well as even the post-crash schemes. There is a very low level of awareness. So any awareness program, national awareness program, which is normally taken up, should include these aspects. Similarly, what we also felt is that there is an urgent need for sensitizing key stakeholders like police, who often are reluctant to file FIRs, and that actually block the opportunity for compensation later. Moving to institutionalize, I think here we wanted to congratulate, of course, the Government of India for incorporating the Universal Accident Compensation Scheme and the Golden Hour Scheme, and very rapidly moving towards operationalization. However, as Piyush had mentioned, I think the states will have to step up to the plate, and as well as there is a specific need to include the post-crash rehabilitation and psychological, particularly counseling to manage this psychological trauma. Third is the of provision, and here essentially is the issue of social security net. So here again, I think the study clearly recommends that the states will have to step up their effort, linking these victims, crash victims and their families, to existing social protection programs. Many of the states, they already have those. Provide also vocational and educational support. And particularly one area where it is lacking, which the study clearly shows, is facilitation of reskilling of the disabled crash survivors to access actually disabled-friendly jobs. I think that has to be a focus, because many of these crash survivors who are disabled, they cannot access to a regular job and a livelihood restoration program. Moving to the accessible legal framework, I think Piyush also touched upon it. There are a couple of areas. First of all, it is appallingly low, insurance coverage for low-income households in rural areas, which need to be enhanced through particular promotion of low insurance, low premium insurance. Similarly, I think facilitating the vulnerable segments like the widows who have been widowed because of crashes to access insurance claims, because there are many stories where actually the whole process of claiming compensation insurance were given up, as the process was very long and tortuous. And for the same reason, I think the claim settlement process, there is now a conscious effort to streamline and improve it, but it would be good to make provision for interim payments rather than making a lump sum payment at the end. In terms of addressing the gendered impact, we talked about the disproportionate impact on the woman. So 2 specific, I think, recommendations which I wanted to mention out of the 7 or 8 the study recommends is a system of an automatic enrollment in the state government employment database for these women, these vulnerable women. Similarly, creating opportunity for home-based micro enterprises for women and extend them kind of low interest bearing business loans, because they have the double burden of staying at home and taking care of the victim as well as supporting the family. So I think it has to be essentially more home-based work and home-based micro enterprises. And if I may mention, I particularly earnestly request Minister, because he's being also the MSME Minister, to initiate a program on this line for the crash victims and the survivors. Lastly, coming to on the issue of the strengthening post crash support for children and young adults, as you would see from the report, I think there are heart-rending stories on the trauma they go through, and then the drop out from the school, etc. So two particular recommendation. One is on essentially starting a psychological counseling program, particularly in schools and colleges, and also temporary waiver of school fees. I think that's all for the time being. I wanted to thank all of you very much for your patience, and my colleague Deepan Bose and I from the World Bank, and Karuna and team from Save Life will be ready to take any questions later. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Arnab and Karuna. Let me invite the special guests, Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji, Hart, Piyush. If you could please lift the photograph of the report for a photo for the social media. My colleagues will be taking the photograph from our side. As much closer to the screen, the better. We'll just hold it for a few seconds. Thank you so much. Thank you. That will be good. Thank you. Let me now invite Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji to make his keynote address for all of us. Over to you, Gadkari ji.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji to make his keynote address for all of us. Over to you, Gadkari ji.
Thank you. Mr. Hart Schaefer, Regional Vice President, Southeast Asia World Bank. Mr. Piyush Tiwari, CEO, Save Life Foundation. Mr. Sudeep Mujumdar, Lead External Affairs Specialist, World Bank. Mr. Arnob Bandopadhyay, Lead Transport Specialist, World Bank. All distinguished guests, invitees, and all my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be here with you all for the release of World Bank report on traffic crash injuries and disabilities, the burden on Indian society, prepared in association with NGO Save Life Foundation. First of all, this is really one of the eye-opening report for me, for my government, and even the people like us who are actually consider the real problem of the poor people, and where we need to change the law and to frame the appropriate policies and schemes by which how we can be helpful for them. I am giving my special thanks to Piyush, particularly the way in which you prepare this report. It is really a great contribution from your side. I am giving my special thanks to you as a minister and from the government of India. My only request to you that we will arrange a meeting with my secretary and officials on your report, and on the basis of that we will 100% take the policy decision that how we can give our all recommendations and whatever the schemes which we are making for the poor people who are facing acute problem after accidents. So where we will frame the policy and schemes by which we will try to really transform them to their original life. It's really an eye-opener report. There are a lot of lapses in our legal system, in our particularly the administrative system related with the police department, and after the accidents we need to connect with that particular poor people to the government schemes by which they will be in position to get the all type of benefit from the scheme for them for their future life. As per the report and various studies across the world too, it is now clear that accident costs are a tremendous burden to society and nation. In India, 1.5 lakh people died, more than 4.5 lakh people injured in 4.5 lakh road accidents every year. The study report on socio-economic cost of road accident in India based on MOT's road accident statistics presented by DIMT and IIT Delhi says that in India, cost per seriously injured person bears at rupees 3,64,398 rupees. Cost per minor injured person bears at rupees 77,938 rupees, while cost of per death is estimated of rupees 91,16,363. So cost of death is 100 times more than the cost of an injury. It shows that if we succeed in preventing deaths in road accidents and restrict accidents to minor injuries only, we can save around rupees 90 lakh per person. Ministry has been taking several measures to reduce road accident deaths by restructuring and strengthening 4 E's of road safety, that is engineering, safe road, safe vehicle, education, enforcement and emergency care services. Two-wheeler riders in India contributes almost 78% of the road accident fatalities. Most of deaths are due to head injuries. Wearing of good quality helmets is very important. We have issued topmost standards for ensuring that the quality of helmet is not compromised. While driving the car, airbags for both driver and co-passenger can save the life to great extent. We have also made that mandatory in India. Actually, there was a system for economic model that was not essential to make airbags for that. But after when I taken charge as minister, we have decided to make it mandatory to make airbags for economic model also. Putting retroreflective tape on front and back side of trucks, buses, tractor, trolley can prevent the serious accident during night time. Drivers' eyesight need to be checked at regular interval in India. We are promoting a joint effort of government along with private companies to carry out pre-eye check of drivers. Automobile manufacturers should further enhance. Actually, we have lot of programs on our toll booths where the toll booth operator have taken a massive drive for checking the eyes of truck drivers, and where we are giving them a lot of help, medical help and other thing, with the help of sponsorship from the toll booth operators. The automobile manufacturers should further enhance safety features by using advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning. We are working with the World Bank on various projects, one of which is to streamline the road crash database, that is IRDD. I am sure that the investment will produce positive results to save the lives of the people. Roads are being assessed under a road safety audit program to prevent road crashes, improve black spots and other engineering defects. We are also working on improving signage on highways to make driving hassle-free. I am stressing towards road safety right from the DPR stage of a project. We aim to deploy our young intellectual minds to audit the DPRs on the basis of which the design of highway is made. We want to take the help of engineering college and IITs and town planning architectural department in the engineering colleges. And we are now formulating a scheme where the young talented students who are studying the courses of engineering, where we can take their help and the institution for making of road audit of the all roads. Particularly there are small lapses are there, and by taking the guidelines of our department, on the basis of that they can make the audit and they will give their report to concerning officers at the same time to the government. And we need to find out how that suggestion are going to implement by the concerning authority, and that is very important. And for that reason our idea is to take the help from IIT and engineering colleges, which can be helpful for us. I am aware that it could be very difficult to survive the family of accident victim if he is only the breadwinner of the family. Your report also says that the number of accident deaths are double in poor family compared to rich one. This is very shocking and giving very sensitive trouble to my heart. And that's the reason it's an eye opener, and we will arrange the meeting with the Tiwariji and his team with my officials, and 100% we will frame new policies and find out the solution that how we can be helpful for them. It is very painful if youth of country at age of 20-25 lose their lives in road accident. Such loss of life to the family, society and nation cannot be quantified. I am also a victim of road accident. I am very much sensible and serious for the subject because I face the consequences after my accidents. Our rural area is socially, economically and educationally backward. They are very poor people, and actually we need to take our all schemes and our welfare activities to them, which is very, very important. And from this report, it clearly indicates that we need more work on the directions. Our rural area is really is a socially, economically and educationally backward, and we need to help them, and giving priority for that is very important. The eradication of poverty is most important mission for all of us. We are constantly working on that mission. Sometimes healthcare and emergency system are not well developed and proactive in backward, tribal and rural areas, that particularly 115 aspirant districts. It is truly pointed in your report that risk of deaths and disability in poor and weaker segment of the society is very high. Lack of education, knowledge and awareness among the people makes them more prone to accidents. As per the key findings of the report, it can be concluded that if we improve the education level, ethics, earning and awareness, and also we need to develop our administrative system, particularly our social sector schemes, where we need to give more priority and to concentrate on that, and making the audit of the scheme by which how it can be helpful for them, that government help will go to them very transparently and exactly in their hand. And that is exactly, it is an eye-opener for all of us. Piyush, I am really giving you the thanks, because some of the things are also, I also don't know that this thing going to be happen in the country, but I will look into it, I will take it very seriously. In addition to institutional reform is very much needed. We need to frame some social schemes, or we need to connect some social schemes which are already there in the system, by which how we can be helpful for these poor people, those who are socially, economically, educationally backward. It's really very, very important. And to have a streamlined, robust and accessible legal insurance and health care system. That is exactly is important. We are thinking lot of things, we write lot of things, we speak lot of things. But the most important thing, which is very, very important for us, that whether what exactly it is going up to the last man of the society who is facing the problem. Because somewhere that is exactly we need to identify, and I don't have any hesitation to accept that. For that reason, we need to develop our administrative system in a way by which we need to be more transparent and more useful for the poor people. That is exactly the eye-opener thing for all of us, and I am giving my thanks to Piyush for that. With these measures, Tamil Nadu government, with the assistance of World Bank, has witnessed a drop of 54% in fatalities over the last 5 years, and I am scheduled to visit Tamil Nadu in just Monday. Next coming Monday, I am going there, and I have a meeting with the Chief Minister, and I am constantly appealing to the all state government that let us accept this Tamil Nadu model, by which it can be inspiration and motivation for all of us to improve the situation in the country. On the same ground, I urge all state governments to effectively implement traffic enforcement system and stop preventable road crash deaths. If we can stop the road crash deaths, it is nothing like that. The help after that is very important. But if we succeed to stop the preventive road crash deaths, then it can be really great thing for the country. For government, each life is precious, whether that is from poor or rich family, urban or rural area, male or female, at any level of the society. To save the life of the people is very important. One of the interesting statistics is the whole country and the world is sanitized because of the sensitized because of this COVID-19. Even COVID-19, whatever the deaths are there, even more deaths every year in the road accidents are more. So it is more dangerous than COVID. So this is really a sensitive issue we need to understand, and we need to concentrate and resolve all these problems related with this issue. Media has to create more awareness of road crashes and the challenges faced by survivors. I request you that we need to use the cooperation and taking from media to create awareness in the mind of the people. I feel that we should have some programs where we can take the special cooperation of media, which can be very, very useful to create awareness in the mind of the people. We need to take the cooperation from the educational institutions, the schools, colleges, universities, and social organization and NGOs. Even for this year, because of COVID-19, we are facing lot of problem. But I am not satisfied, because we need to take more cooperation from the society, NGOs, social institutions, social organization. And actually, we have now decided that next year, all this road safety month is going to organize and implemented by our Road Safety Council. We have already decided to appoint a very, very senior retired IS officer, retired secretary from the state, and is a very, very good and capable officer. We are going to appoint him as a chairman of our Road Safety Council, and with his board, we are giving him special powers to organize all this thing and 24/7 implementation activities in this field. I accepted already that in my department there is a lot of problem. There is a very less staff is there, where less people are there. So it is very difficult to make the all appropriate things. But formation of Road Safety Council, we are going to make it within a week. 100% will be in position to implement all this thing. Media has to create more awareness of road crashes and the challenges faced by the viewers. Recommendations and way forward given to the report on the safety of vulnerable road user groups, cashless treatment schemes, improvement of civil and health infrastructure, penetration and compensation mechanism of insurance, rehabilitation and strengthening of weak section of society like women, children and other parents, post-crash response and ecosystem, and integration of multi-stakeholders would definitely help to improve the road safety scenario in the country. This report will help central and all state governments, policymakers, local administrators and all concerned stakeholders to design and implement road safety interventions effectively to save millions' lives. I would like to see more such studies being conducted in the future. I congratulate and thank you once again for World Bank. At the same time, Mr. Piyush and his team really for great contribution to create awareness, not in the mind of the people, but to create awareness in the mind of the policy makers is very, very important. And as a minister, I really very, very thankful to you that you are giving us what type of rectification we need, what type of new policy we need to change, and where we need to make more implementation very, very sensibly in this particularly subject. I am giving my thanks to all the stakeholder of World Bank and Piyush and his all colleagues, and giving thanks to all of us. 100% on the basis of that, I will try my level best to rectify whatever the negative sides from government side. We will try to improve the scheme and we will make it more effectively. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
And refreshing to see the genuine commitment that you have to the as a champion of road safety, and I'm sure we'll see great results coming shortly to all of us. I will now request questions from the media. As I said earlier, if you could put down your questions on the chat, your name and the speaker that you want to address this question to. Any takers?
नमस्कार, मैं धर्मेंद्र सिंह भदौरिया हूँ, दैनिक भास्कर न्यूज़पेपर से। मेरा क्वेश्चन है गडकरी जी से। सर, ये जो स्टडी अभी हम देख रहे थे, इसमें दो चीजें हैं। एक तो ये है कि जो लोअर इनकम हाउस होल्ड है, एक्सीडेंट होने पर उसकी 7.6 मंथ की उसकी इनकम चली जाती है। और दूसरा है सर इसमें कि उसका इंश्योरेंस कवर जो है, कंपनियों का इंश्योरेंस कवरेज जो रहता है वो डिले मिलता है लोअर इनकम हाउस होल्ड को 14% और हायर इनकम हाउस होल्ड को 24%। तो सर इस दिशा में कुछ करेगी क्या मिनिस्ट्री?
धर्मेंद्र जी, थैंक यू। आप लिख दीजिएगा। गडकरी जी, ओवर टू यू।
हाँ, ये आप जो बात कह रहे में जो दिक्कतें हैं, जो प्रॉब्लम्स है, उस गरीब व्यक्ति के पास योजनाओं का बेनिफिट नहीं मिल रहा है, इंश्योरेंस का बेनिफिट ठीक से नहीं जा रहा है, उसके बाद में उसका लाइफ और जीना मुश्किल हो गया है। ये सब बातें जो रिपोर्ट से ध्यान में आई है वो बहुत सीरियस और सेंसिटिव है। और मैं कभी भी एक बात को मानता हूं कि मैं अपनी मिस्टेक्स को गवर्नमेंट में प्रोटेक्ट करने में इसमें कोई रुचि नहीं रखता। मैं लोगों को यह कहता हूं कि लोगों की जान बचाने के लिए हमारी भी कोई गलतियां होती है डिपार्टमेंट की, तो उसको एक्सपोज करो। तो आज जो कुछ बातें इनके रिपोर्ट से आई है वो बहुत ही अलार्मिंग है और निश्चित रूप से इसमें जहां जहां सुधार करना होगा, इसके लिए मैंने पहले ही कहा है कि मैंने पीयूष और उनके टीम के साथ, मेरे सेक्रेटरी और मेरी टीम बैठेगी और हम लोग इसके बारे में डिटेल स्टडी करके हमारे सिस्टम को इम्प्रूव करके किस प्रकार से हम इन सब गरीब लोगों की मदद कर सकते हैं, किस प्रकार से हमारे सिस्टम में सुधार कर सकते हैं, किस समय डायरेक्ट, अब आधार का कार्ड हो गया है, हमारी सोशल वेलफेयर की अनेक स्कीम्स है, जिनको जो दिव्यांग हो जाते हैं क्या उनके लिए डायरेक्ट कोई स्कीम का डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट हम दे सकते हैं क्या। इंश्योरेंस के बारे में भी मैं इंश्योरेंस की अथॉरिटी को बुलाकर 24 आवर में इसके सब परिणाम जो है उनको सेवाएं कैसी दी जा सकती है ताकि उनका लाइफ फिर से नॉर्मलाइज हो, इसके बारे में काफी त्रुटियां हैं, काफी कमियां हैं और मैं स्वीकार करता हूं कि इन सब त्रुटियां और कमियों को हम लोग कम करने के लिए वॉर फुटिंग पर प्रयास करेंगे और पूरी तरह सुधारने का प्रयास करेंगे। और मैं इसको एक्सेप्ट करता हूं क्योंकि मुझे भी ये रिपोर्ट आने के पहले इतने नीचे लेवल पर इतनी दिक्कतें होंगी ऐसी कल्पना नहीं थी और इसीलिए मैंने ये स्वीकार किया कि इट्स ए आई ओपनर फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस and we will take it very seriously and we will make the audit of our all welfare schemes. We will make the audit of our road engineering. We will make the audit of our actually the whatever the help we are giving them by different methodology. We will make the all study and research of it, and on the basis of the report which is already today with us, on the basis of that we will rectify whatever the decision we need to take. For that we will take the decision and rectify the things.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Gadkari ji. There's a question from Nilesh Wadhwa. By when do we expect the implementation of the study recommendations? Connected to the first question. When do we expect the implementation of the study recommendations? Connected to the first question.
Actually, in next 15 days, we will have a meeting with Piyush and his team. At that time, we will also call the expert people from World Bank, and we will arrange that meeting with my all concerning officers. And every point, important point, we will discuss, and we will take the decision. Some of the things which are not in our hand, particularly in my ministry, we will make it recommendation to the concerned ministry and we will implement. I presently accept that it is really, the report is very, very alarming and now we need to take some steps immediately, and 100% I understand the importance of all these things and I will assure you that we will take the appropriate decision for that.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Sir, Mamuni Das from Business Line. सर एक क्वेश्चन ये था कि आपने जो वैल्यूएशन बताया IIT DIMTS स्टडी से कि लाइफ का वैल्यू इतना होता है, ग्रीवस इंजरी का होता है इतना, तो उसको अभी आप जब मोटर व्हीकल अमेंडमेंट का जो इंश्योरेंस स्कीम लागू करने जा रहे हैं तो उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इस वैल्यू का क्या यूज होगा, एंड अगर वो वैल्यू फिर से आप रिपीट कर दें तो दैट वुड बी ग्रेट। थैंक यू सर।
नहीं, पहली बात तो ऐसी है कि ये वैल्यू जो है ये रिपोर्ट के आधार पर जो है वो अभी आज उन्होंने हमें बताया है और वो एक्चुअली मैं आपको कुछ बातें ये भी बताऊंगा कि बहुत सी लिमिटेशन गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम में भी होते हैं कि हमारी कुछ बातें जस्टिफाइड भी होती है पर हमारी भी अपनी एक मर्यादा होती है और इसलिए मैं आज इसके बारे में कुछ एश्योर नहीं कर सकता, पर ये क्योंकि फाइनेंशियल मैटर भी होता है, हमारे गवर्नमेंट का, हमारे डिपार्टमेंट का बजट होता है, हमारे अधिकारों की कुछ मर्यादा होती है, फिर फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री के अप्रूवल्स भी लगते हैं। तो ये जो प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई हुए हैं इसके ऊपर हम सीरियसली विचार करेंगे और उसमें से मैक्सिमम जो जो गरीब आदमी के लिए करने की आवश्यकता है वो करने की कोशिश करेंगे। इतना मैं आज कह सकता हूँ। आज ऑफेंडली मैं एकदम इस बारे में आप जो कह रहे वो समस्या है वो जेन्युइन और लेजिटिमेट है, पर आज उसके बारे में एकदम नहीं कह पाऊँगा। पर मैं इसके बारे में बहुत सेंसिटिव हूँ और निश्चित रूप से मैं जब इनके साथ मीटिंग करूँगा तो फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री और मेरी मिनिस्ट्री और सबसे बात करके इस लाइन में क्या कर सकते हैं हम जरूर कोशिश करेंगे।
As well as loss of lives. Reforms are needed to make allied sectors. For instance, fear of filing an FIR would need police reforms and also depends on the improvement of road infrastructure. How does government plan to do these things? Over to you.
Actually, we have taken a lot of decision after the decision of the Supreme Court regarding road accident, that we creating awareness in the mind of the people about to help them. Also, we have already made the law. But what my feeling is, we are now some of the issues related with my department where we can make rectify the issues as early as possible because we can take the decision. But some state government, particularly the Home Ministry, the FIR issue and other things are related with the Home Ministry, and where India it is in the concurrent list. The state government Home Ministry is also responsible for that. So naturally we need cooperation from the state governments. But I understand the problem by understanding the negative points, the lacunas in the present system. The problems which are related with the federal government, suppose it's my ministry, 100% we will rectify. Then the problems related with the other ministry in the federal government, we will recommend them. And the problems which are with the state government ministries, we will also make awareness and also send them our recommendation for implementation. So my feeling is we need cooperation from all stakeholders, and we will work on that line to taking appropriate action of that report to the concerning department, and we will try to implement, and we will also make the follow-up of all these things. This is the only way in the democratic system how we can implement the thing and how we can rectify the thing. But ultimately the most important thing is we need cooperation from the all stakeholders, either it is state government or central government. Without that we cannot save the life of the people.
Thank you. Where there is less, penalty for not wearing helmet and safety features in cars. Similarly, safety on highway, especially tail lights for trucks, etc. Can we have a program to ensure compliance? Can we have a program to ensure compliance?
Actually, these are the problems on large scale. And actually this is in India we have three type of system. One is central list, state list and concurrent list. As far as our constitution, there are some agenda, some subjects related with the central government, some subject related with the state governments, and some of the state subjects related with both state and federal government. So what exactly in my mind that we need to activate all the stakeholders, either it is central or state, either it is social organization or corporate or any stakeholders. So exactly that responsibility of my ministry is to recommend them, sometime make the law. If it is in my purview, I can make the law and I can make mandatory to them to listen for this cause. But suppose if it is not there, then I need to make follow-up and also requesting them, giving advisory, making the follow-up. And the role of media is very important. In that case, media can also create awareness in the mind of the people and the system. If the system is not implementing it properly, the media's cooperation is very important. In that case, if media creates awareness, ultimately it creates pressure on the system, then 100% the people are going to make a correct thing on the appropriate direction. So we need to create awareness in the mind of all stakeholders, by which with the cooperation of all the stakeholders we will try to implement, and I am confident that we will get cooperation from all the people and we will be succeed in this mission.
can be rolled out in India.
What is the system?
Nilesh?
Can you repeat this?
Can I just speak for a minute, Mr.
Yes, please.
Gadkari?
Go
My
ahead.
question is,
Yes.
like you had assured that like global NCAP, you would be looking at rolling out Bharat NCAP safety rating system in India. It's already 2-3 years since we had good results from India, but after that we don't see much of companies coming forward for safety, getting their cars safety rated. So, voluntary system like a Bharat NCAP would have, further the cause of road safety in India. So, when can we expect
Already Already the CM is working on this, but I don't know much about it. But it is the people. Some people are working on this thing. But I will take it and I will also make it to how it can be implemented more effectively. For that reason, we will take the cooperation of all stakeholders, and 100% if it is success story, we will take the cooperation of all stakeholders and try to implement that.
In any response to the questions that have been posed so far, Hart, would you like to come in?
Thank you very much, Sudeep, and thank you, Minister. You got all the questions, but I think you are the best position to answer on the questions for India. From our side, I just want to say that on the full range of what it takes in terms of resources from the World Bank to help with the analytics, but also to help with the investment and to help with the institution building, both at the national level and at the state level, to make sure that the objectives of the amended Motor Vehicle Act are actually being implemented and have an impact, which means saving lives, reducing crash fatalities and injuries. This is something where the World Bank is fully committed to, and we are proud of having this partnership with Save Life, with Piyush, but also very much behind and join forces with you, Minister Gadkari, and with your government. So I look forward to doing more and to making sure that India is fully on track and will achieve by 2030 the goal of having crash facilities or cutting the number of crash facilities in half. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hart. Piyush, closing comments from your side?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Honorable Minister once again for not just acknowledging the findings of the report, but it's really heartening to see the action that the Honorable Minister has recommended in terms of dealing with this issue expeditiously. I also wanted to finally, also thank the World Bank team once again for